Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the Miami Heat lose Game 5, 93-80. Boston takes a 3-2 lead in the series, headed back to Boston to close it out. It was an anemic performance scoring the ball from the Miami Heat. I'm so very lost for words trying to describe exactly how cold they were this evening. I'm embarrassed for them. That's how cold they were this evening. I'm really embarrassed for them. They've been the number one seed in the East for a while now. They had home court advantage in this series, and they have been so bad at home in these last two home games. It's just staggering how hard it is for them to score the basketball in this series. Now, granted, a lot of that is credited to the just championship level defense of the Boston Celtics. They were championship level defensively tonight. No holds barred. No holds barred. They were out there beating people up and doing it in a way that just demoralized the Miami Heat. And the Heat are decimated by injury right now. I think that's the honest truth. You really miss Tyler Hero's scoring ability. He did not play tonight, and didn't play in the last one. And you could see he was missing his. If he was at his best and doing the things that he does, that's the scoring that they need to win these games. Kyle Lowry being just hurt, trying to play through injury. He's not helpful tonight. I mean, you just looking at his shooting numbers on the series, it's pretty bad. Max Strus, he was another 0 for tonight. We've talked about how he's been good defensively, but hot and cold on the offensive end. I don't know what type of injury he's going to be dealing with going forward. He did hurt himself in this one a little bit, but I mean, he you got to give guys credit for being aggressive when nobody else wants to score the ball. As anemic as they were in the last game, and as bashful as everyone was in the last game, I wasn't even mad. That's how bad this was. I'm not even mad at Max Strus for going 0 for 9. I'm not even mad at Kyle Lowry really for going 0 for 5 or whatever it was, because you're getting 4 out of 18 from Jimmy. Like, you know what I'm saying? It gets to a point where it's like, Spoelstra cannot necessarily be blamed for the anemic performance of his team on the offensive end at all, because he was trying everybody, and everybody was horrible scoring the ball. Oladipo couldn't get nothing going. Bam didn't start really trying to get going until the game was well out of hand in the fourth quarter. It was, Bam has just been very disappointing to me, man. I'm sitting up here cussing at my screen because I'm sitting here watching him do all kinds of Dex moves and cross the ball over and get to the rim, and the score is like a 30-point deficit. I'm like, brother, you couldn't do this in the first quarter when your team was struggling. Now you want to flex when the game is completely and utterly out of hand? It's just one of those situations where it's like, man, you can't win when no one wants to put the ball in the hoop. When you shoot 15% from behind the arc, it's staggering how those shooting percentages actually look when you look at them on paper. It's absolutely staggering. They had to have broken some type of record. They shot like 32% on the field, 15% from the three, y'all. Like, they attempted like 46 three-point shots. You can't win that way. And then you look at Bam Adebayo through three quarters. Every attempt he was making was like some 12-foot one-handed hook shot in front of Robert Williams, who just was not having it at all. He was so fantastic defensively. You must give Robert Williams credit for how well he was playing on the defensive side of the ball this evening, as well as, of course, Al Horford, of whom I think is going to, and I said this in the last series, not in the last series, I said this in the last video about this series, and I'm going to say it here. If the Celtics do go on to win this series, it's going to be a battle of the minds between Al Horford and Draymond Green. because those two dynamic bigs who pretty much do everything for their teams are going to be the heart and soul of these two series, of the series as it approaches, if it does come to pass, which is looking highly likely right now. Highly likely. Because I don't think Tyler Hero's going to get that much more healthy between now and then. Kyle Lowry ain't going to get that much healthy between now and then. Jimmy Butler's knee ain't going to get no more healthy between now and then. You see what I'm saying? It's like the issues that the Miami Heat have right now are not only just struggling scoring the ball, it's their bodies. Those guys are beat up, injured, and they're not helping themselves right now. You know, and they're leaning too much on guys that they would rather not lean on so much at this stage. I thought Gabe Vincent was fantastic tonight. I thought he took advantage of that mid-range, which I said in the halftime video was open all night for the Heat. When they look at the footage, they're going to realize that they were looking for something that they kept passing up, and that was open shots. That mid-range, in that first half, they missed so many opportunities to take that shot. That the Boston Celtics were playing off of them like they were Shaq at the three-point line. I'm telling you, the space was phenomenal. All they had to do was shoot it in confidence and rhythm, and they would have been able to have open looks just about all night long. No one on their team identified that but Gabe Vincent. And even in that situation, Gabe Vincent was trying to attack and kind of, he was playing off a defense that was, kind of playing him as if he was driving to the rim, so he was able to attack it in that way. But I'm saying all of that, there were easy mid-range jumpers available, very easy ones, and that's what the defense was giving them. You gotta, when you're playing against a Boston Celtics team that's so elite defensively, if they give you something, you gotta be smart enough to identify it, take advantage of it. You don't get to do the things that they're taking away from you. That's what it really comes down to. I think about something that JJ Redick said in regards to a previous series. He said, since the team was taking away the paint in that particular series, you need to shoot more threes because they're taking that away. Well, in this series, the Boston Celtics appear to be taking away just about everything, but that mid-range area. And so because they have nobody on the Heat that's identifying that, it seems to me that they're not finding any open shots. The Heat the Celtics are closing out quick to the three-point line. They're cutting off the paint with those bigs, those Williams guys and Horford, and Tatum and those wings are quick enough to stay with you. So you just got to take what they give you, and that was all I saw. That defense was kicking their tail. I'm telling you, it wasn't just about the Heat not playing well and not hitting shots. The Celtics were only giving them a little bit of something. It was just a little bit of something. So, that's who needs the credit, man. That's who needs the credit. The Boston Celtics, Ime Udoka. I'm not certain they're not going to win the championship. As much as it pains my Laker heart, I am not certain. They just look like the best team in the Eastern Conference for sure. And the West, I don't have a whole lot of faith in Golden State or Dallas, as you guys know. I don't have no faith in them, given how they've approached these closeout situations. So you just got to love what the Celtics look like right now, especially given the fact that Miami Heat have no solution for their scoring issues. When you shoot like the Suns did from behind the arc, you ain't beating nobody. And that's exactly what they did. And anybody who followed the Suns this playoffs knows that they couldn't throw a rock from behind the arc. They couldn't throw a shirt in a clothes hamper, you guys. It was that bad. And that's exactly what you saw from the Heat tonight. In fact, they were a lot worse. A lot worse. A whole lot worse. Because at least Phoenix would give you something on the inside. These guys were missing everything. 32%, 30, something like that from the inside. It was horrific. Absolutely horrific. If you want to look at the bright side, offensive rebounding and free throw shooting. The Miami Heat only missed one free throw as a team, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And they had 18 offensive rebounds. That's pretty damn good, I'd say. I think that's something you could really hang your hat on, trying to get back to Boston, knowing that you had such an impact on the glass for second chance points. It's why the score wasn't a complete blowout, to be honest. Because Lord knows it wasn't the shooting. Lord knows it wasn't the shooting. You want to give Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum credit for how they approached the second half. The first half they were struggling real bad, but they made their percentages respectable. And I really like how Jason Tatum approached this game. If you watch my previous video about this series, I was saying that I was seeing Jason Tatum make whip passes and doing all types of good moves. And my thing has always been, JT, you're too predictable out there, my friend. You shoot too many jumpers, and either you're going to live and die with those jumpers. And I'm like, that's why I looked at him in the first half of this series as somebody who I needed to bring down my expectations for, because it's like, yo, I can't trust this guy offensively. Either he going to give me 50 or he going to give me 15, and ain't nothing else to it. And then I started noticing how well he was making passes. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's where the superstardom comes in on the offensive end, because when he's bricking, he's capable of getting 11, 12 assists if he just puts his mind to it. It's like, all right, so I can get back to understanding where everybody's leaning on, because if I'm leaning on his scoring, I'm not seeing it. I know what he can do from a jump shooting perspective, but he bricked too much for my liking. He shoots too many low percentage shots, in my opinion. But when he attacks playmaking like he did tonight, and he attacks the boards like he did tonight, that boy's he ain't nobody that can be messed with. Because then, even if the jump shot ain't falling for like 2 or 3 quarters, he done got himself worked up so much as a passer to now, when he does take jump shots, he doesn't have as much defense crowding him out. So you look up, and now he can hit a couple corner threes. Now he's able to getting a rhythm that wasn't coming in the first half because he was jacking up contested shots that weren't falling. He was working the ball around for the second and third quarter. And now when the fourth quarter come around, he can up his percentages off of that softer defense. And that's what we saw. Jason Tatum was making passes, and he got himself 9 assists tonight. He had 12 rebounds, and I don't remember how many points he had, but he got his shooting up to par. This wasn't the greatest scoring night for him, obviously, but when you look at how it all played out, he was a huge catalyst for how they were able to win this game. So I thought this was a great floor game from Jason Tatum. In fact, one of the best I'd seen him play. Jaylen Brown's turnover issues are still continuing. They both actually turn the ball over quite a bit, and they're going to have to shore that up. But, as the team continues to play good team defense, working the ball around, I think they had 24 assists as a team. That's really, really good for them. Miami only had 14, obviously really, really bad for them. So, you can see the difference. One team played well together, the other team struggled to identify what was available to them. And just a lot of aggression from guys who just weren't able to hit shots. You think about a guy like Max Strus, he kept jacking them up. And like I said, I wasn't upset at it because I felt like team players weren't doing enough of that in the last game. You got to let it fly. At some point in time, somebody got to say, man, I'm just going to go all the way out and just let it be. Whatever, if it fall, if it don't, if it don't. And I just felt like that's what the whole entire team did in this game, and it just did not fall at all. So, credit to Boston. Defense is stifling. They're the best defense in the league, bar none. It's not close at this point. I'm clear on that. I am sure about that. They have the best defense in the league. Miami is very close behind them, though. As you can see, Miami held them to 93 points. It's not like Boston was lighting up the scoreboard. And that's why I think they're both in trouble in regards to seeing the Golden State Warriors from that perspective. Golden State's going to be able to light them up. And it's going to be a task for both of these teams to try to keep up scoring with the Warriors for sure. So that's just something I see coming. They're great defensively, but they're fortunate enough to be going up against each other who both have scoring issues. Golden State don't have that. So it's going to be interesting to see how they attack that team. And I'm just assuming Dallas is gone. I'm sorry. I know they won the last game, but I just don't see them coming back from an 0-3 deficit. If they do it, I'll adjust my thinking, no question. But I just don't see it. So, yeah, man, that's where we're at. I mean, hey, this was a closer game than we've seen. We were happy to have at least a 6-point deficit for a good moment at this time. Because most of this thing has been a blowout. Even this game got upwards of a 30-point deficit at one point, but the Miami Heat were able to close in, and you're encouraged by that to some degree based on Bam's aggression in the fourth quarter, I guess. But wasn't a whole lot to like, man. Wasn't a whole lot to like from a Miami perspective. And from a fan's perspective, if you're just watching this without really a whole lot to root for, it wasn't fun to watch because it was an ugly game. A lot of defense, obviously, you know. So wasn't a lot of foul calls. I can say that much. We didn't see a whole lot of guys going to the line, so that was really good. Turnovers weren't incredible on either side, so you can be encouraged by the fact that both teams basically took care of it, I guess. Um, but the Miami Heat are going to have to find a way to score the basketball on the inside and stop settling for three-point shots. I mean, if you're shooting 46 of them and you only get like 7 of them, that should tell you that maybe at some point in time, we need to start attacking from different angles and different spots. And that's what it is. It's such a task for the Heat to find scoring, man. It's such a task. And I know they're out there frantic. They're running around. They're trying to figure it out. They're running their plays. But at some point in time, you just got to stop and look around and say, okay, where I'm standing right here, ain't nobody around me. So this is where I need to attack. This is where I need to take my shots. And that's simply what I saw there. Miami Heat not identifying where their open shots were found. The defense had them. They just had them by the backside. And as we go forward, going back to Boston, the series has been so unpredictable. Conventional wisdom says that Boston's going to close this thing out because Miami ain't going to be able to score. If they couldn't hit a shot at home, how the heck are they going to score in Boston? And I think that's the reasonable thought that everyone should be thinking at this point. Miami looked like a defeated team at the end of this game, and I don't think they're coming back. I don't think they're coming back. I did have them winning this series in 7, but it's about how you lose. And when you see 5 games worth, you understand that one team is just healthier right now. That's the truth. I do think the Miami Heat could have won this series if they had all their horses and everybody was straight. If Kyle Lowry was his real self, if Bam was playing like his normal self, if Jimmy was 100%, I think all that Miami team could definitely get this series all the way to the Game 7 and get the victory. But with players hobbled, with no Tyler Hero, with Jimmy's knee, it's very difficult. They're already a bad offensive team scoring the ball anyway. They ain't really the team you're looking at to say, okay, we're going to get 120, 130 points out of them. Nah. They're supposed to win it on the defensive end, and Tyler Hero's supposed to give them just enough scoring the ball for them to close guys out. That's how they're supposed to be able to win. But if they don't have that, as you can see, they're not even good enough to score with decent NBA teams. This is a bad offensive team right now. They ain't nothing short of it. They need to find somebody who can score a good 25, 30 extra points for them. And then they can keep up with a team like Boston, who's just simply got a lot of star quality talent and strong defensive players that they lean upon, that are going to be able to handle it. So that's why the pundits see the Celtics as the leader of this series. I certainly saw this series going both either way, and I've been clear about that. But right now, I just do not feel good about the Heat. It's going to take a lot more than what they showed me tonight to even be competitive in a Game 6. To even be competitive. Because the way I see it is, Boston's going to score more than 93 points in every game they play, probably for the rest of these playoffs. You ain't going to see them score that little amount. So if you couldn't score 93 points against this team, and you struggle scoring it for basically 8 or 9 straight quarters, can't throw a rock in the ocean. Why am I going to think that you're going to be able to pull it off now? I don't have that evidence. That's just not what I see there. So maybe Tyler Hero comes back, but as long as they're continuing to have struggles, especially if Max Strus is going to be hurt, because you understand how much he means to both sides of the floor. I hate to say it, but his 0 for whatever it was tonight, they need him to take those shots. They really do. Whether they fall or not, they really do live and die with the scoring of just about everybody who's normally aggressive. And he's one of those aggressive players. If he happens to go 8 for 11, the Heat win. But they need him to attempt those shots, and a lot of times, just like I told y'all today, he gonna go 3 for 11. And unfortunately today, he was a lot worse than that. So you can't survive it. Jimmy Butler, if you're gonna play, bro, and I feel the same way about Kyle Lowry, these two players particularly, if y'all gonna play, y'all can't be a detriment to the offensive side of the ball. You do better just sitting down. Sit next to Tyler, put on some regular clothes, man. 4 for 18, Jimmy. You're hurting the team. You ain't helping. How's that helping the team? I'm not seeing it. Some of those shots that Victor Oladipo was taking from behind the arc, how is that helping the team, sir? Some of them 3-point bricks, it's so bad. You like, man, just take a few steps in. Seriously, brother. It was a certain play where he tried to dunk the ball. Just lay it up, man. This ain't 2015, bro. You ain't got the type of legs at this point, man. Them injuries ain't letting you dunk the ball like that. Lay the ball up, man. It's just little stuff like that the Miami Heat did, and they just didn't have room for those type of mistakes. You know, you are too bad of an offensive team to not connect on N1s, to not get your chippies, to not connect on open 3-point shots, to pass up wide open mid-range shots. You're just not good enough of an offensive team. You're going up against too good of a defensive team. So, Ime Udoka has outcoached Erik Spoelstra in this series thus far. Let's be very clear about that. Those are two fantastic coaches. The guy in green just seems to be a little bit more prepared for what he's seeing right now. Simple as that. It's a little bit more prepared. You know? That's it. Injuries have decimated the series. So, I'm a Laker fan that is frustrated knowing that the Boston Celtics are one game away from the NBA Finals. But as an analyst, I'm not surprised too much because the Boston Celtics have been this good since well before the playoffs began, well before. And my problem with the Celtics has just been the inconsistency of their scoring. But defensively, hey, they are the team to beat. That was proven yet again in Game 5. Al Horford, phenomenal. The Williams brothers, phenomenal. Derek White was phenomenal. It was a lot of good out there for them Celtics, man. A lot of good. Simple as that. BDF 44. I thank y'all for watching.